A lot of people like the traditional martial arts approach of respect for your opponent and just fighting to the best of your abilities and letting the chips fall where they may. Whereas other people say, well, listen, to get people to show up, to get asses in seats, to get pay-per-view buys, there's got to be some drama and some entertainment value to it. And that's where someone like Conor comes into play.
Conor's the only one that's done it, though.
Yeah, well, Ronda a little bit.
Ronda did it a little bit. Conor's done it the best, but he actually puts in the work.
Right. Chael Sonnen before him.
Chael Sonnen did, but he didn't. His mouth was louder. He's actually probably the best at it. He's better than Conor at it. Conor's very close, but Conor actually delivers on more of what he said he's going to do than Chael did.
I would agree.
So if you got to think of anybody who's brought both worlds together best, I would have to say Conor. He knocks a lot of guys out, try to call the round. He's only lost a few fights total. And even those fights, it was risk match reward. Fighting a guy, switched opponent, different weight class. You know, he's taking those risk and rewards that if you lose, it's not really that big of a deal. You know, nobody's going to really, oh, my God, drop him down to the bottom of the pack. But these other guys that haven't done it, don't have the skills, ain't put in the work, I mean, they can kind of really just...
Well, you see the trend, right? There is a trend right now.
Be good
people
at it
being
at least, though.
Incredibly disrespectful, very rude, and, you know, you saw what happened with Colby Covington and, you know, and Fabricio Verdum hits him with a boomerang.
You know what I mean? And now he's pressing charges. I mean... Why
it's just in the middle of it. You're in the middle of it.
Why is Conor and Nate fighting super fights that are bigger than a world title fight?
Because people don't know you as much. They don't know you as much yet. And look, Conor's a weird enigma. And whatever reason why that guy caught fire the way he did, it's a weird combination of personality, results, skill. There's a lot of, and Ireland. Ireland's a big factor. I mean, if Conor was from Nebraska, I guarantee you this shit wouldn't have happened the way that way. Too. It's not just a big fight country. The loyalty and the love that those people have for the people that fight from Ireland, there's nothing like that. Yeah. It's a weird anomaly. So he's just this weird aberration, and he gives people almost like false hope of what's possible. Yeah. Because I don't know if it's possible with a lot of people. It's lightning in a bottle. For whatever reason, it worked with him.
But he started it himself, and then what happened? Yeah. Here come the jumper cables. Boom. Boom.
Yeah.
UFC put the machine behind him, right?
They definitely put the machine behind him, but without the machine behind him, there was giant hordes of people flying in from Ireland. I remember some of his earlier fights, I was like, and I was commenting on it, I was saying, this is a guy who was on the undercard, and they're acting like this is the main event of a pay-per-view. They've flown from Ireland. The audience is filled with thousands of people that flew from Ireland.
That's when like he was fighting Brimage and Rendell and those guys.
Even back then, it was insane. When he fought,
I didn't know him back then. You know what's funny? Somebody, my old striking coach, was like, Conor McGregor is this huge star, and da-da-da-da. I'm like, that's when he had first got in the UFC, and I'm like, I don't even know who the fuck this kid is. He was trying to convince me, no, he's a superstar, he's a da-da-da-da. And then every time I get a chance, I said, you were right. He wasn't then, but this motherfucker ended up being a superstar. And he loves to get that credit because at that moment, I think I was getting ready to fight Dong Hyun Kim, and he kept talking about this Conor McGregor. So I said, let me look at this motherfucker. Let me look him up because you obviously got a boner for this dude. And I looked him up. I'm like, all right, he's good. I get it. But let me see him beat a couple people. And then if he can beat Dustin Poirier, then I'm going to give him his props.
Knocked out Dustin Poirier.
Dustin Poirier. Yeah. I said, all right.
No, he's 100% legit.
Yeah, he's legit. Yeah.
But it's what else is going on that's so weird. Yeah. He's not just legit. He's also this unbelievable personality. Like, people are drawn to him. Yeah. No one can manufacture that. Yeah, so
he's rehearsed that. He's practiced that. He's looked in the mirror. He has natural wit. He's willing to go risky and say some below the belt shit. And he does his research. He don't come to a press conference just, you know, smoking you like the front row of a comedy show. He's looking into some deep shit, and when you get there, you kind of stumble. So you're right. He has that. He also has a fight style. He also has so happened to do 80% of shit he says he's going to do, so now he's the fucking messiah.
Right, but you can't say that the UFC has not gotten behind you or people don't give you the respect that you deserve. That's why you're not in the same level as him. I didn't say that, Joe. But you said that him and Conor, or that Conor and Nate are fighting these super fights.
I'm saying that he has gotten that. And I'm saying that he has gotten that, and he has lived up to what he said he's going to do. And on top of that, you gotta be able to fight, and he can fight. And he's been able to talk. So now not only can he generate the pay-per-view buys to get people interested, he's actually going to deliver a knockout against Jose Aldo,
Right.
a stoppage against Eddie Alvarez, and a crazy, back-to-back fights with Nate Diaz.
But don't you think that you're in an unusual situation, first of all, because you win the title by spectacular first-round knockout against Robbie Lawler, right? Unbelievable knockout. But then you have the most awkward and difficult guy to defend your title against. I mean, Wonderboy Thompson is a very unusual opponent, and it's hard to look good against him. And out of all the people that fought him, you're the only guy that put him in danger not once but twice, and who's got one-punch knockout ability. You're not going to open yourself up to Wonderboy.
You're not going to rush him either.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't get picked apart. You're not going to fight him the way he wants to fight. What you did is you laid. The fight was tough too because of your injury, but you got to go back and look at like Anderson Silva's dark days. There was a dark days when Anderson Silva fought Damian Maia, where nobody wanted to have anything to do with him after that fight.
Yeah.
And Anderson Silva fought when he fought. There was several fights where he had just boring results, and people weren't interested in him fighting anymore. One spectacular knockout, and everybody's back on board again.
Well, people one spectacular knockout to get the belt, and then everybody slowly forget about it moments later. Because at the time, Stephen Thompson said, "No, I'd rather fight Robbie, and I think he's gonna win anyway." And and then he think I'm supposed to be just so graciously like, "Oh, let's fight in honor." And no, you want to fight Robbie, right? You said Robbie was going to win. You said you personally prefer to fight Robbie because I've been waiting around, even though that wasn't the case. So you said this stuff. So don't think that I'm just going to give you my spotlight and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, let's do this. No. If I'm seeing the table being set, I know there's Nate Diaz is out there, Nick Diaz is out there, George St. Pierre's, Michael Bisping's, guys that have that name, they have that status that I'm trying to get to. Those are the guys I want to fight. I want to knock those guys down because now I can continually inch myself up. Fighting him, well, he's trying to get the same thing I'm trying to get. Why the hell am I going to pull you up with me? Right. If that's the fight they wanted me to fight, now, number one, they never offered me the fight. He said something. Then I think the UFC thought I wasn't take the fights. The first time they offered me the fight, I accepted it. So when all these people are like, oh, my God, you don't want to fight, trying to pick his fights, he's just got the belt.